All right, everybody, another day and another video about fly tipping. It is Christmas, so, you churn a few more videos out because you get a bit of ad revenue, which you don't usually get through the year because everybody's advertised at this time of year. It's Christmas, innit? Not my usual Pepsi. But what I'm going to quickly talk to you about is, as you will know, if you watch my channel, I work for a company that builds and repairs skip bodies. We do repairs for people, and we've had a customer come in. He's actually a local guy, and he's got someone else's body. He bought it secondhand, by the way, because he would have got a new one off us, but he come across a real good value truck. And he's got a repair on it. And what I wanted to talk to you about is today, why you should get one of ours. I'm only going to keep you for 30 seconds and we'll go into the video. What it is you'll see me on the internet and doing videos, and, we keep relevant to people. And what I want to say is that you'll be able to see the damage to this truck here. It's not that we don't get customers that damage trucks. It happens every day of the week. Every day. But what the difference is this customer needs a ram. He's bent his ram. So I'll put you a picture on the screen here, see what he's done. To get a new ram made, because this company don't make these bodies anymore, is more than we could probably replace a full set of rams on the full truck, at least both lifting rams. And that's the difference, is warranty. And I go on about people, when we give you a warranty for 12 months, it is no questions. We've made a lot of trucks, more than anybody, right? And you will never, ever come across anybody who says we have not stood on a warranty. Even if I've had stuff that's come a couple of months out of warranty, we'll look after them. This repair on this truck, as you can see, it's going to need a ram, it's going to need a bottom bar, it's done some of the pins in and stuff like that. We've got all them on stock. So if you buy one ram, say it's 500 quid off the shelf, you've never had it before, it's a one-off, 500 say to 1,000 quid. If we buy 30 rams at a time, all the same, they might only be 200 quid. And that's the difference. We've got so many spares for our trucks. Even if you've got the older version or the newer version, the parts are pretty similar. We've changed them, but the actual part itself, the size of it is the same. So we've got loads and loads of spares, all on the shelf, hundreds. And that's the difference. That's what I always say to people, look at the warranty, look at what other people say, and we do bend over backwards. Right, let's go and get into the video. And today, this is a good one because the council have found an illegal fly tipping site, and what they've done, they've gone on there and confiscated all the vehicles that have been used in connection with the fly tipping. So this is what my worry is, and this is why I'm making a video about it. I'm going to show you what type of waste it is and how that waste is made as well. This is a very specific type of waste. But if you're running an illegal transfer station, for instance, there's no difference if you're running a transfer station in the middle of the woods or on some yard somewhere on an exemption. It's all illegal. And this is my one worry, is that if the Environment Agency do start clamping down, like they should, they could, in theory, go to a transfer station, an illegal one, and just take the lorries. Because that's what this council's done. They're not fucking about. So let's have a look. This is a massive proactive effort, and what I'll say to you is why I think this is actually quite good for the waste industry. You get somebody starts up, cutting all the corners, things like that happen. Listen, let them get on with it. But what it stops is, if you've got an illegal site like a bad one, so what this council's done is they've gone in, they've confiscated all the lorries so they can't commit any further crime. And I suppose the way that the council look at it, well, if we go to a site, it's full of rubbish and you haven't got rid of it, or, whatever the circumstances is, we are going to take vehicles and assets to cover the price of the clearing it up, and also to stop you committing any further crimes, which is what the police would do, wouldn't it? If they went to your house and found, I don't know, say you'd beat somebody up with a baseball bat, and they went to your house and arrested you, they're not going to leave the baseball bat, are they? They're going to take it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you look at it like that in a simple way, it is very proactive. So, but like I say, my concern is that these powers might, if they're going to start looking at doing things this way, they might use it against people that kind of in the grey area, what I call it. They've got a few exemptions and they get away with it like that. But let's have a look at this fly tip. So this material we're looking at here, just going to open another can of Pepsi. So this material that we're looking at is 40mm trommel fans. What are 40mm trommel fans? If you're in the waste industry, you know. It is a big rotating drum like this. That's a trommel, a big rotating drum on an angle like that. And it has little holes all the way over it that are 40mm in size. So your rubbish comes in at this end because it's on an angle. The rubbish goes through as it's turning and it falls out the bottom. Just think of a cement mixer on its side, but both sides are open. And then, you know, because both sides are open, stuff goes in one end and out the other. It has a 40mm hole in it. And I'm going to explain to you why this material will 100% be hazardous. I would bet my favourite thing in the world, this can of Pepsi on it. Can't bet how else, ain't got no money. But what this is something the Environment Agency helped me with. You know, I always say, you know, Environment Agency, the bad tools and all that. This was quite good advice from them. Okay, so this, we'll put it into context, and this is how she explained it. It's to do with the concentration of the material. So the Environment Agency came here years ago. This was years ago. Had a go at us, you know, oh, your trommel fans might be hazardous. There might be this, that, and the other. I sent it away, and luckily it wasn't. However, you need to do some further processing. So if you've got trommel fans, like you can see in this picture, you need to remove the small, really small stuff, like this size, which is like soil. You need to have a magnet to pull off all the metal, you know, and then you need a blower to blow all the bits of paper out and everything else. And what you get left with is basically metal, stones, bits of paper, and a soily light product. And my argument with the Environment Agency all them years ago, I was adamant, we don't take anything hazardous here. They had a good look around the site, couldn't see anything hazardous. But she explained to me what it is. If I'm sure my Environment Agency officer doesn't watch my videos, but if she does, she'll know, because I had a big argument, it went on for ages. So through this trommel, what we're going to say is this camera goes through one of those big rotating drums, yeah? Just a normal camera, comes in skips, whatever, I don't know, set of earphones like this, yeah? Whatever. An old mobile phone, right? So it goes through the trommel, and because they're too big, they can't fall through the 40mm holes. However, this is where the problem comes, and this is how she explained it to me, you know, and I'm an idiot. But you pick this stuff up over the years. So this camera has got a battery in it. So there's the battery. And what would happen is, as these are both going through the trommel, that's inside of there, and as this is rotating in the drum, the battery becomes free and it falls through the 40mm hole. It finds its way through. So when we test the material that comes out of these 40mm trommel holes, it is an absolute fucking nightmare to do anything with unless you reprocess it. So we have a machine here, it's got a fan on it, it blows the paper out, it shakes off the little bit pieces, and it has a magnet to take out the metal. You know, your metal can be batteries and all stuff like that, and you can just recycle them. It's not a problem, but they need to be individual. If you was to send off this material that you can see in this picture, for instance, you know, you've got, let's say this is the material, this is my packed lunchbox today, that would be not hazardous because it's just some skewer sticks and some plastic. However, if you drop a lead battery in there, because they're only looking for tiny, tiny little traces of lead, this one battery may be enough to contaminate 1 ton of material. That's right, 1 ton, potentially. Same as your drinking water. Let's say you've got 1,000 litres of drinking water. If you was to drop a couple of drops of engine oil in it, the test would be a mile out. So that is what this material, what's been tipped here, it's the reason it's here, because it's such a pain in the ass to get rid of. This problem became, you know, I'm just putting the battery back in the camera, but this problem became so evident when the landfills changed the testing. So when they said you was only allowed a 10% LOI on your tests years ago, this material would be all left together, plenty of soil in it, get it tested, it wouldn't have come back too bad, and then into the landfill. But then the landfills got so strict and said, right, it has to be, you know, completely in air and this, that, and the other. This is what caused this problem. This material's probably been sat in the yard for 5 years waiting to go somewhere. This problem will be costing the council who's done it millions, because every single ton will be hazardous, not only going to landfill, hazardous. So they are going to have one big bill to clean this up. Let me tell you one thing. I am the first to criticise the Environment Agency if they do things that I don't like. However, you know, and councils, sometimes I think they go too hard on the wrong people. But in certain situations like this one, I think that it's a perfect approach. You know, and like I say, I'm the first one to call people out if I don't agree with it, and you know, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. But this would be such a good proactive, you know, literally, you imagine you've got a machine tipping waste that shouldn't be tipping, that's clearly not legal. You know, don't get me wrong, if you've got, you know, somebody on a building site and they're moving a bit of soil about and maybe that's legal, maybe it ain't. But if you go somewhere, somebody's tipping waste, you know, in a yard, in a field, whatever, you go down, they ain't got the right information. I think the police should be able to, and the Environment Agency and anybody else, you know, act the way the police would and just say, right, we're going to seize these vehicles. If it's legal, fair enough, you can have them back. But to prevent any further, you know, crimes being committed, it would make sense, wouldn't it? And like I always say, I've got nought against a man making, you know, a day's wage. Absolutely not. And I started off as an illegal transfer student. I wouldn't say I was illegal. I only had 8 skips, but I used to sort them out myself until I built some money up, and then we got a transfer station. You know, so I've spent time doing it myself. I understand. But what I'm talking about there is people literally filling up, you know, fields and, you know, all this stuff that's going on at the minute. This has always gone on. Just so everybody knows, this has gone on forever. The only difference is because it's getting to be such a problem and the bills are so high, so the government's putting the landfill tax up and putting all the bills up, aren't they? Our government's putting all these bills up. They're having to foot a lot of these bills. So the criminals, when they get caught, like, well, I ain't fucking got out. So, you know, either you clear it or it ain't getting cleared. So now, but the government's paying it, now they're interested. And that's why all the papers, go online now and type in fly tipping. You know, I've been doing fly tipping videos 3-4 years. You go on there now, hundreds a day. They're reporting on all of it because somebody's paying. You know, back in the day, they used to leave this shit, didn't they? You know, I know where there's a site now. I won't say where it is. It's one I've looked at, and there'll be 3,000 tonne of waste on there, hidden out the way, and because you can't see it, nobody's bothered. It's been covered over with soil, and there's probably, I don't know, 3 to 10,000 tonne of waste. It's got soil over the top, so nobody even knows or cares. The problem is now there is such a spotlight on all of these sites that, you know, it's going to be problems for everyone. And like I say, I don't begrudge anybody making a day's wage. So I think that, you know, the Environment Agency might start using these powers, like the council have them, go down and start targeting, you know, the little transfer stations that work on exemptions and things like that, rather than the illegal stuff. But anyway, I hope you like the video. I'm going to get going because it's 4:30 and I have got to drive tonight to Doncaster. So I'm going to do some boxing coaching with my little lad. So that'll be fun. Yeah, so I'm going to make an early exit tonight. I'll see you all soon. I hope you like the video and, you know, give you something to look at for half an hour. You have a poo on the toilet. That's what I do. Shredder videos on the toilet. Right, see you soon, everyone. Bye.